Ho 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 ho. It's time again for Michie and the deep topics, and I just bumped my mic. Whoopsie doodle. But I'm trying to get as much audio recorded in advance while I'm inspired, and don't have to worry about having a swamp cooler slash fan on me 24/7 because the California heat is killing me. Whenever this is going up, I'm recording it in the summer of 2018. Dating the video, cough, terrible idea, but it does have to do with certain things. So a little while ago, I was asked, "Hey, Michi, how do you feel about influencers giving toxic ideas to their impressionable audiences?" And I asked them to go a bit more in depth with this because I felt like it was a very vague question, but it was a very good question because I do feel like this is very important and should be talked about, and it's been talked about to death. But I want to have my opinion on it because I like talking about my opinions and my viewpoints. Who would have ever thought if you watch any other video on this channel? Cough. But they explained, how do you feel about people who don't realize they're influencing and teaching toxic values to their audiences, their fans, and yada. And the short answer is I fucking hate it. I think it's dumb. The long answer, which is the point of why you're probably here, since I hear a lot of people like just throwing my voice on in the background while they work on stuff. By the way, if you do, that's awesome, because I do the exact same thing when I try to work. But recently, some controversy came out about a pretty famous ex-animator for Nick. I don't know why I said animator, he's a showrunner, but whatever. Making all this doodah and hoo-ha. And all these little creepy crawlies coming out of the woodwork of pretty much showing how toxic of a person this is and their viewpoints on things and how influencers do influence us. That's kind of why they're called influencers. But I think the big issue here is when a person gets to the point, and I mostly see this with YouTube, but you see it in almost any platform when people kind of get an ego about themselves, where they feel like they have all these fans, they have this big audience, they have this following that will just blindly follow them off a cliff. It sounds very cult leaderish if you ask me, but what do I know? But when they see this, they don't see people anymore. And more likely, they don't see kids. I'm not saying my audience is kids. It's usually 50-50, but I do have a lot of younger people come out to me, and they send me emails. They at me on Twitter. They send me notes on DA. They where I am so seriously flattered, and I am so honored, and I'm so blessed that people come out of their way and kids come out of their way to say, like, because of you, I want to be an artist. Because of you, I am saving up for school. Because of you, I have my shit together, which is great because I didn't back when I was a kid. So it's nice knowing that my life experiences and my little videos on YouTube helped inspire other people. And I really think that's something that people should take into account. Does that mean that suddenly I'm going to be all positive all the time and not going to curse and not going to be me? No, because then I wouldn't be fucking me. But I believe that when I make these videos, when I'm talking, it might sound really weird, but I'm making these for myself, but not who I am now. It's who I was. And the fact that I'm having these younger audiences, contact me and tell me things, sometimes some very heart-wrenching things and some very personal things, it makes me think of when I was that age, when I was vulnerable, because I was in a very dark place for a very dark time when I was younger, to the point where, realistically, the only reason I'm here is because I had a very small support network, but it was there. There are people who don't have that. And so when I make my audio and my videos in mind, I like to think of what a 13-year-old Michi would have liked to listen to. What would have made her laugh? What would have made her smile? What would have she would have taken from this? What she would have learned? Maybe have her go out and change some things that I probably should have done back then. But I didn't have that. I didn't. When I was growing up, I didn't know you could be an artist unless you were an animator. Seriously. I was even told in my art classes, when I actually took art classes again, that I had such a talent. But it wasn't for cartoons. It wasn't for storytelling. It wasn't for anything that I loved doing or I cared about doing. It was for, you can copy that photo, which, by the way, I'm so rusty, I can't even do that anymore because I haven't done it in so long. You can copy a photo. You can paint a painting. You could do gallery shows. I didn't want to do gallery shows. And by that, I don't mean gallery shows like now where you can do fun like fandom gallery shows. I mean gallery shows where it's like, oh, here's, a black and white photo of dew on a leaf. Nothing on those photos. I just don't think that's art in my opinion. But that's the thing about it. Art's subjective. Didn't really learn that in classes and from people around me. And other things, didn't know I could make a living doing this unless I went into animation, which I didn't want to do. And so, because of that, that's why I like making these videos, because I do like influencing people. I like inspiring people, and I like giving advice that I wish I had heard. But the problem is, that's not the point of this now, is it? It's not. We're talking about the people who do the negative things. And these are the people who get so far gone in their fame that they say they care about you, but they don't. They just see dollar signs. Which is why you see them doing this crazy, insultive, outlandish shit. Or they teach you very terrible life lessons. Let me just button up my collar and talk about how wonderful not having premarital sex is. It's a joke if anybody gets it, hopefully. I think it'd be funny. But they don't realize how toxic their behavior can be because they just don't care. They don't. They can say they do, but they don't. You can tell when someone genuinely cares about what they're doing and the fun and the influence they have on people. And then the people who are just like, oh shit, I'm sorry I'm caught. Not that I'm sorry. I'm sorry I got caught. Not that I'm sorry of the action I did. And they'll teach people things that are very toxic. To where we live in an age where not enough people talk over the crazy people. There's a reason why a lot of people don't like being called a feminist anymore. There's a reason why a lot of people who are vegan don't like saying they're vegan. There's a big reason why some people who are Christian don't feel comfortable saying they're Christian. There are people like me who believes things that some people will think is unholy, unright, living in sin. But do I feel that way? No. Do I feel like I should convert people to my points of view and my cause? And no, because then life would be boring. But in that same sense, I don't try, I hope I don't come off that way, to guilt trip people into believing a certain way. And by that, I just want people to be smart and to be conscious and to take care of themselves and to ask for help when you need help. And not end up being like these people who their advice is, well, even if you love this person, if they think this one not same way as you, cut them out of your life. Doesn't matter what happens. A good example of this, and this is going to be a point of view I already know a lot of people aren't going to like, but I've had a couple people ask me like, hey, I want to come out to my parents. You came out with your story, And I tell them, make sure you're in a safe environment. Make sure that you have a home. Because we can all hope that our parents are understanding and okay and rational beings. But that's hope. A lot of people in these situations end up not having that. They think they have that. But that's because they're shielding themselves from it. And that's why I say it is better to wait if you're safe. Well, Michie, why would you say that? Because one of my best friends came out to his parents because of an influencer telling him so on the internet. And he got beat up and put in the hospital. And then his parents got divorced because of it. Yes, they blamed him for them getting divorced because he was gay. See how terrible that is? Now, granted, they probably should have gotten divorced in the first place if that was the reason to get divorced, but they blamed their son coming out because he listened to an influencer instead of listening to himself. Because when he asked us, he was doubting it. I remember he was like, I shouldn't do this, Oh, but so-and-so says I should be out loud and proud and I should do this and that. And it's like, yes, you should. You should. But be safe. It's just like, when people don't realize how good they have it, but then they have these influencers who tell them stupid shit, and then it ruins their life forever. Does it ruin the influencer's life? No, because you're a dollar sign to them. You're not a person. And because of that, they'll try to blame them. They'll be like, well, I didn't make you do it. You shouldn't have been an alien. Another big one of this is when I see people who, and this is pretty depressing, at least in my mind, where you have people being like, oh, well, look at the big YouTubers. They just dropped out of school. They just moved the fuck out. I could do that. I could totally do that. I could put all of my eggs in one basket and fuck up my future. Now, am I saying go into college and get into a fuck ton of debt? No, not unless you want to go to college. But you should want to. And if you want to, you should go. Same goes for moving out. There are some people who are given very, very great privileges that a lot of people don't have. But then they see their influences and they end up throwing those privileges away. Where they'll be like, oh, you have to move out when you're 18. It's that was a pretty common one, And then a lot of people realized they couldn't move out when they were 18. Whether it be economy, living situation, social issues, yeah. And then they're belittled for it because they're like, well, my influencer was able to get out at 18. And it's like, yeah, but also back then it was easier to make money online doing stupid shit. Nowadays, it's still better to go online doing stupid shit. There are people who abuse the system and get rich off of it. This has always been a thing in all of human nature. And they don't care about who they're influencing. They care about baiting the system. They care about making money. They care about number one. They don't care about you. Now, am I saying that for everyone? No, of course not. But mass majority, that's how it is. And if it's not right now, it could be in the future, which is honestly is terrible to say. It's something I'm afraid of. It shouldn't be. But I see how easily it corrupts people when they get so high, they forget what it's like to be down low. I actually talk to my friends about this all the time. When, I'll look back at some YouTubers I watch, some of their first videos when they were just doing it for fun and just doing it for passion, to when they were like, yeah, don't feel like doing this anymore, but I don't want to do anything else with my life. I wasn't smart with my money, so I can't afford to do this thing. I can't afford to take a break. I can't afford to do buffers. And then you're giving people these mentalities that, well, shit, now I can't do that because I fucked up my life because so-and-so did it. My idol did it. Yeah. And that's why I think, would you want yourself to hear what you're saying right now? Think about your audience. Think about who you're influencing. Think about why you're doing it. I know why I'm doing it. I'm doing it because, again, I wish someone was there for me. I wish I had a voice like this to listen to. And I must sound like some great gospel preacher, I am inspiring the youth of a nation. But no. I just think it's fun. I think it's nice that I help people believe they can do what they want to do because I wanted that. And more people need to think about that. Need to think about what they put out there. Need to think about what they do. Am I saying hide your whole life, make a persona? Because no. You should always be yourself. Because you are important. And you are special. And I hope that's a good enough answer. Hopefully I didn't ramble off, go on too much off topic. But like I said in the very beginning of the video, no, I don't think you should be teaching your audience toxic things. I don't think you should be teaching your audience things that you would be ashamed of. And if you honestly don't give a fuck, well then you do you. You do you. And with that, guys, I think I'll leave it here. And as always, I will see you next time. Bye.